Now, let's talk about the thing that's kind of uncomfortable to talk about. And you and I have talked about this before. And I apologize to anyone who may take offense to some things I may say with this, because I just feel led to say it. So, and it's my podcast. So, so there was this story that came out yesterday. I don't know if you saw it, Matt, on ESPN. A lawsuit has been filed against the NFL and their sportsbook partners, with two defendants. It's a gambling addiction lawsuit. This was a story, again, that was up on ESPN yesterday afternoon, written by David Purdom. I'm just going to read a little bit of it here, and then I want to, again, let's talk about it a little bit just from our perspective that we get to talk about. And I'm going to preface this by saying, if you've listened to our podcast, particularly back in the fall when we first started talking about this, I believe you brought it up, and it was a great point about, how everyone, all of our leagues now are pretty much in bed with these gambling sites in Vegas itself and everything. And so let me just read some of this story and then we'll get into it. But it says, a lawsuit filed Tuesday in Pennsylvania state court accused sportsbooks FanDuel and DraftKings of using data supplied by the NFL to offer a, quote, known addictive product, as well as VIP hosts to encourage two plaintiffs to keep betting, eventually leading to gambling disorders and financial losses. It goes on to say the NFL and its data partner Genius Sports are named defendants in the suit, in addition to FanDuel, DraftKings, and 5 sportsbook employees who were assigned as VIP hosts to plaintiffs Christopher Sage and Terry Thompson. Of course, the NFL declined to comment. ESPN reached out to DraftKings, FanDuel, and Genius Sports for comment. Apparently, they haven't received that back. But this complaint alleges that DraftKings and FanDuel specifically used the NFL's live data feed to offer in-game micro betting, a form of gambling believed to be more addictive, according to the lawsuit. Attorneys for Sage and Thompson say the two Pennsylvania men developed severe gambling disorders and lost more than $2 million combined to the sports books for several years. For those out there who are like me and don't understand anything about this betting environment, micro betting where bettors wager on in-game moments with such as a free throw in basketball or a specific play in football requires a near real-time data feed to accept and resolve bets during contests. NFL provides this official data to sportsbooks through Genius Sports, in which it owns an equity stake. DraftKings and FanDuel have said that live betting accounts for approximately 50% of the wagers made on their platforms. So the way I read this, you've got two men who, I'm just going to say you had a gambling problem, because you're gambling away millions of your own, $2 million combined to these sports books, and now you want the money back, is what it sounds like in this story. And look, you and I have both talked about this before from our standpoint of this, and I'm just going to reiterate this the way I feel about gambling. And look, I have friends who do this. I want those who may be listening to know, I'm not accusing or pointing a finger or judging anyone. But I go back to what I said originally, I think, and that is, and this is a tired analogy because people have heard me talk about it, but it's the best way for me to talk about it, Matt. And that is, if you play with snakes, you're going to get bit. So why would you play with snakes, right? I have worked in recovery ministries for years before, and the story is always the same. It's I got addicted to alcohol, or I got addicted to drugs, or I got, and it doesn't say it in scripture that specifically gambling is a sin. Okay. And I would agree with that. I would agree with the gambling is not the sin, but the sin comes from your addiction to it and the fact that it dominates your life to the point where you've spent $2 million of your own money and now you want it back, right? I don't know where this goes other than the fact that it's going to get worse. because we see it now with all of these sports leagues. You can't continue, and I'm just going to say it again, you can't continue to play with the snakes and expect the snake not to be a snake at some point. You're not going to be the one that beats the system. The system will always win.
Yep.
And I don't care if it's $5 or if it's $50. Look, you spend your money the way you want. It's your money, and I know that you do that. But I'm just telling you, for those out there who are listening, you know, in my opinion, it's a dangerous game that you're playing, because they don't want just the $5. They want you to keep betting and keep betting and keep betting until you've given up millions of dollars. That's their goal. Their goal is not to help you win. Their goal is to take your money. Anything you want to add to that?
I completely agree. And you know, I've got family members who have, you know, kind of fallen prey to addiction with gambling, with alcohol. I've walked through it with them before. And it's one of these deals. I tell my kids, I used to tell them a lot. Of course, they're not, one of them's not at home. The other one's about to not be at home. So it's one of these where you're just hoping it sticks with them. But, you know, what positive could come from that? I understand that some negatives might not have come, but what positive can come from that, you know? And it's, as someone who, you know, my sons would sometimes ask, you know, like I am even to the point where I get in bracket pools and all the rest, but like if I have a bracket pool with somebody and they're like, even like $5, I'm like, look, can I be in it? But if I win it, the second place person get the money. And they're like, yeah, that's fine. So I just don't, I don't do it, because I know some of what my personality is. Like, I'm the kind of guy that if I'm playing a game on my phone that I feel like I should win and I don't win it, I will play immediately again until I win. And sometimes you lose like 6 in a row and you're just chasing those losses, right? Mm-hmm. Well, on a game on my phone, that's fine. Yeah, I might waste a little time and I need to recoup that time, and that's a negative, but I'm not losing any money. And that's what ends up happening in a lot of these situations. And it's really, really scary. And I'm not one of these that, you know, like, look, I'm a pastor. David, if you want to go home tonight after a busy day, a full day, and kick back and watch a baseball game while drinking a beer, I don't have a problem with that at all. I don't think it's wrong. I think drunkenness is wrong. I think going out and getting wasted is wrong. So I understand that if I were to make a $5 bet on a bracket, it's not morally wrong. But I see where it can go. And that's why, for me, knowing my own weaknesses, I don't want to touch it. It's like you talking about that snake analogy. If I hear there's a snake in the house, I don't go in the house and keep my eyes open for the snake. I just avoid the house. I call somebody, you know, that's kind of how I am. So that's the way I view it.
And again, it's not the actual gambling or the drinking, and we've talked about that. It's not that part of it, and I get it. Churches and Christians and folks like that in years past, I grew up around it, where if you sniffed alcohol, or if you did bet $5 on the office pool, I mean, it was almost like being excommunicated from your fellowship. I mean, you just
for sure
couldn't do that, you know. And we've gotten past that, but I can tell you, I have sat in recovery meetings with other folks and ministered with them, and I see what this does to people who started out with it. Well, it's just one drink, or it's just one bet,
right?
And it has ruined their life. That's the thing I'm talking about. When the enemy doesn't play the entire movie out in front of you when he tempts you to do something. When he tempts you to take that drink, or he tempts you to smoke the cigarette, right? Or whatever it is, he doesn't play it all out to the end. He just tells you, or there's no harm to this, to do that. And we put warning labels on all of this stuff. And You ever wondered why, when you listen to a gambling ad on a radio station or TV station, when they get to the part where they're reading the disclaimer, how you can't ever understand what they're saying? They speed it up.
Yeah.
That's where we put the disclaimer out there to protect us, but we don't want you understanding the real dangers of this. It's the same thing as the cigarette label. We've had cigarette labels on packages for decades, right? I mean, literally says that it can give you cancer or that it's harmful to your health, but they put it in such small, print or whatever that whoever reads that thing anymore, right?
Right.
But anyway, I don't mean to pick on people who are smoking and all that kind of stuff. Again, that's not the problem. It's the addiction part that comes to it, where you can't break it without it, before it destroys your life. Exactly. And that's just what I want to let everyone understand. It's like, don't let this stuff destroy your life. The only 100% way to not let it do that is to not get involved with it in the first place and to just avoid it. And so when I saw this story yesterday, I just kind of thought how ironic it was. Even at the end of the story, ESPN puts a disclosure and says ESPN has business partnerships with DraftKings and the NFL, right? I mean, they're themselves are caught up in all of which 20 years ago, this was, Pete Rose was kept out of the Hall of Fame for betting. And just this week, baseball itself, has signed deals with with gamblers in these sites. And so I don't know, man, it's a slippery slope, and they've started down it almost to the point where there's no turning back. And I am not shocked at all when you see betting scandals happening in college sports, which we've seen this year, and pro sports. I mean, when you get in bed with the snake's going to bite you. And just please, if you're listening to us out there, I'm not meaning to put anyone down. Just please be careful and understand what you're dealing with, because next thing you know, you may be the one that's feeling like you have to file a lawsuit to save your financial life. I mean, can you imagine giving up $2 million? I can't even imagine how long it would take me to make $2 million to spend on something like this. And so, I mean, without hearing any of the evidence here, I'm just looking at it right now. I'm thinking, hey, this is not going to go your way, fellas. I mean, you walk into this knowing that this is what's there. So anyway, that'll be interesting to watch and see how that plays out. But I'm pretty sure I know what the outcome is going to be. The NFL and their gambling partners are, going to walk away with this and not be damaged at all. So buyer beware. Buyer beware.